Fire me up, baby! Ah!
Let's go! This guy's silky. Up. Thank God it's Friday. Welcome back to Chicago Hockey Radio. I'm Lee Grossman. With me on Zoom, per usual, is my boy Justin Lynch, a.k.a. B-Hawks Memes, and Raven Gasser on the ones and twos, per usual. A lot going on in the hockey world right now. A lot to get to on today's show. Talking playoffs, talking maybe a little World Championship talk. We'll see if you're lucky. We've got Keith Kavanaugh joining the program. He's a Devils guy, but he covers the entire NHL. We're excited to talk to him about the second round of the playoffs and everything going on right now. Before we get into anything, I'm asking you once again, if you have not yet, please subscribe to this YouTube channel, Chicago Hockey Radio. Hit that notification bell so that you know when we go live. Follow the Instagram, very important. Follow the Instagram so you can stay up to date on when we're going live, what we're doing, schedule, photo dumps, creative content, skits, all the above on the Instagram and the TikTok. Follow the Twitter too if you care about me and my feelings. If you listen to us on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, please 5-star rating and review. That stuff helps us a lot, and we really appreciate you guys that do that stuff. Also, if you're watching right now on YouTube, like the stream. Let's boost these numbers up a little bit. Justin Lynch, how are you doing today, my good friend?
In the name of the Connor and the Bedard and the Holy Pookie. Amen. How about that Chicago Pope, eh? I hope he blesses us with Dynasty 2.0 on the way. But yes, sir, it's Friday, so Friday is always a good day. A lot of playoff hockey to get to, World Championships, a lot going on. So looking forward to it. Should be a good show.
Do you think the new Pope, who do you think his favorite prospect in the Blackhawks prospect pool is?
Ooh, that's a good one. That's a good question. He strikes me as a Roman Cancerov guy, Roman candle, the Cancerov. So,
Romario.
Yeah, if I had to guess, I'd say he's a big Cancerov guy. And that's pretty cool, though. That's pretty sick. Southside Chicago, Pope in Chicago before GTA 6. So a lot going on there.
Yeah, we were talking about it on the stream last night. I don't know how that development path is. You go from living in Chicago to being the Pope. Did he spend a couple years in Rockford? I don't know kind of what that path looked like, but yeah, very cool story. Let's indulge in the hockey here. What do we want to start with? Do we want to do a little World Championship talk? I mean, it started a couple of games have already finished today, so no pun intended. I do think Finland played and won.
They did, correct.
The Blackhawks have 5 guys representing them at this tournament.
That's right. Frank Nazar, Frank the Tank, and Alex Vlasic representing the U.S. So hopefully they could bring home gold, but that Canada squad is pretty stacked. It doesn't have Bedsy, unfortunately. Lucas Reichel for Germany, Arvid Soderblom, Soda for Sweden. Sorensen's also there as part of their coaching staff. And Teuvo Teravainen for Finland is back, hoping to get revenge from the 4 nations. So yeah, those are 5 Blackhawks. I think their assistant coach is also on the U.S. squad in terms of the coaching. I think Kevin Dean's there as well. So yeah, quite a bit of Hawks representation. Yeah.
What's with all this, all these talking points about Bedard not being there? People, it's rubbing people
deep.
The wrong way. He went last year. He says he wants to focus on his skating. You're okay with him missing, right?
Yeah, I mean, I was a little disappointed just because like it's less games for me to care about in this tournament. Like if he was playing, I'd be watching all the Canada games, not just all the U.S. ones. But I'll definitely be watching the Hawks and Frank Nazar and Alex Classic. But for Betsy, like I get it, man. Like and he was there last year, like you said. He's a 19-year-old, just finished his second season, playing 82 games. Like I think he's just focusing on the offseason. He's focusing on his development, focusing on his skating, and sometimes playing more hockey. Sometimes it's not what you need, right? He's played a lot of hockey, so I think he's just focused on his routine. I don't really have an issue with it, right? I think it's a very mature decision, honestly. So, but there've been a lot of people giving him crap for it because Celebrini's there. But it's like, okay, when he was a rookie, he was there too. So that way, I understand there's a difference between a player and his as a rookie versus a sophomore's off-season routines. So, I think just people are kind of slanted just because guys like Crosby and McKinnon are going this year where they weren't last year. But it's like Betsy would have known that, right? When he was opting out, those guys weren't confirmed or anything. So, I mean, I'm sure if he had known, would he have gone? Maybe, I don't know, but like I don't really see it as I just don't think it's that deep. It's a personal decision, and I think people are making a bigger deal of it. Yeah,
I agree. It's not a big deal. I think it's just like people are seeing like these videos of Macklin working with Sid, and everyone's just like quick to jump to conclusions, but it's not even a talking point, so I'm not going to waste another breath on it. Some other news that's relevant to the Blackhawks sphere a little bit. Joe Quenneville has been hired as the new head coach for the Anaheim Ducks. Look, this is like the tough one. This is the tricky. All the shit that Joel Quenneville did was horrible, and I hope he learned from it. And, people can have debates whether or not he should be coaching or not. I'm not personally going to engage in that debate. Do you think he's going to have success with the Anaheim Ducks? I feel like it's not the ideal situation for him. Like, I feel like if he's trying to get back into the league, it would have made more sense for like, I don't know, a more veteran competitive team. Cause it's like, he's taken on a whole new project with this young Anaheim team. That's like maybe a year ahead of us as far as like a rebuild goes.
yeah. I mean, plus he's been out of the gig for like 3-4 years now, and like you said, yeah, I think he'd be better off on a team like I don't know, Boston, New York, a team that's has a lot of those veteran players and closer to a playoff spot. But the Ducks, they're a team on the rise. I mean, they definitely made some progress this year, and they have a lot of talent on that team, but it's a lot of young talent. And is that going to mesh well with Q's kind of old school style? Who knows? We know that his Blackhawks days. I could see there being some players in that team who rub on the wrong way. Trevor Zegras. So we'll see how that's going to work out there. But no, I mean, yeah, I mean, I couldn't agree more with what you just said, right? I mean, we can always speculate, but obviously, hopefully learn from his past mistakes and all that. But if Bowman's allowed to come back, I guess Q should be. But yeah, hopefully learn from his past mistakes and yeah, but it's just curious, man. Like 2015, me would have never imagined Coach Quenneville coaching the Anaheim Ducks. So a lot's changed. A lot has changed.
Shocking.
So it's crazy. We're actually seeing it now. He's finally returned. Been kind of waiting for it for a while. And the Ducks are definitely a team that's on the rise. No question about it. But is he the guy who's gonna take him to that mantle? We'll see. I could see there being some. He's got to adjust his coaching style for sure.
He is, and I think we're gonna find out within a few months of this season, honestly. And because like that will, if they start off really bad, that's gonna be the narrative. It's gonna be pretty easy for the media to criticize Joel Quenneville. So he's definitely got his work cut out for him, and we will see how that goes. All right, let's start talking about the games from Wednesday. The Maple Leafs versus the Panthers. I think we're bringing on our guest, so if we want to bring on our guest, we can do that now. Oh, I think we have him. There he is, Mr. Keith Kavanaugh. How are you doing today, sir?
I'm doing great. How you guys doing?
Awesome. Thank you for joining us.
Yeah, we're great. Thanks for coming on the program. We were just gonna start with Leafs Panthers talk, but you're a Devils guy, right? That's your team.
The Devils are my team, yes. But I also was listening to your World Champion talk just a couple minutes ago about Bedard, and I have a quick thought on that.
Okay.
So I would say that I don't think it's a big deal that he's not going to the World Championships. I'm just curious how it affects his Olympics participation for next year, because a lot of the four nations, it seems like they wanted players like Nick Suzuki was an example of a guy who skipped the World Championship last year and they didn't get that four nations kind of recognition. So I'm curious if he isn't going to be in the same boat, and like if they're between Celebrini and Bedard, if they go Celebrini because he's there this year.
Yeah, there is a good point, right? He was in the Four Nations this year, like you said, and he'd have to have probably a pretty good start to his season next year if he was to get that invite. So that's a good point. Yeah, maybe it's just more focused on his season, not really worried about the international stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, and like I don't know. To be honest with you, and this pains me to say it because I am a massive Connor Bedard fan. I think it's really unlikely that he'd be playing for Canada at the Olympics this coming year. Just because, I mean, you bring up Nick
The center
Suzuki.
depth is ridiculous.
It's insane. It's like Dylan Strome wasn't even there either. Like, what about him?
Shifley, Robert
too?
Thomas.
Yeah. Robert. Oh my gosh. Yeah. Like I feel like Connor Bedard is still a ways behind on that depth chart. But it is a good point, and that's definitely, this is maybe the last one he should miss, I will say, because, with this stuff going forward, you want to be representing Team Canada. You want to be in these big moments, in these big tournaments. So it is a good point. But
let's get into some playoffs talk, though. I'm excited.
Let's do it.
Sure.
Let's do it. Before we get into like the second round and stuff that's going on now, I would love to hear your thoughts on that first round for the Devils against the Canes. Obviously, disappointing result, but I think nobody really had the expectations that the Devils were going to come in and win that series. Obviously, with all the injuries on the back end, plus their best player, Jack Hughes. What did you make of the performance? And is it time to like blow things up in New Jersey?
I think blowing things up would be a stark overreaction to what happened there. Let's call a timeout. Let's call a break
Where'd
a
that
little
come
bit.
from, Lee?
That's ridiculous.
I saw something on. Okay, and I will admit I got this this headline from Puck Empire, so take that with a grain of salt. But somebody in the Devils organization saying that there was going to be like major changes. Which what does that mean?
No, Fitzy had his end of season press conference yesterday, and he basically said that it wasn't good enough this year, and that there will be changes to the roster moving forward, but not necessarily the core pieces. Right? Yeah. You got guys like Jack Hughes, Jesper Bratt, Nico Hischier, Timo Meier, all under team control for a long period of time. Same on the back end with Dougie Hamilton, Jonas Siegenthaler. There were too many injuries for the Devils to overcome a Carolina Hurricanes team that is just, look at game one, for example. They had 94-34 shot attempt differential to the Washington Capitals, a team that's fully healthy, that was the best team in the NHL this year. So I think on that side of things, like the Hurricanes were just well positioned to win this series. I think if you're the Devils, you take some positives away from this. Simon Nemec played a really big role. That overtime winner in game 3 was huge for him. And I think going into this series, there was a question of where he fits on this team long term. Yeah. And I think at the end of this series, you're like, all right, this guy's actually a core piece that they can have for the long term and they could possibly build around him. And I think for the Devils, like their depth scoring didn't get it done. And that's no surprise. Like everyone kind of knew that was what was going to happen at the end result. So I think figuring out how to adjust the bottom six for the Devils moving forward is kind of where they'll be looking, along with a top line winger that they can get possibly to put with Jack Hughes. They have Arseny Gritsuk coming up. So he was a guy in the KHL who had a really strong year over there. He just signed his entry-level deal. He's got a year next year. And then they have Laine, I don't even know how to say his last name, the guy from Finland. He's playing in the World Championships right now, but he's another guy who just signed his ELC. So he'll be another guy that they'll bring into the bottom six. Cody Glass played a big role for them. So he's an RFA at the end of the season. So I think he might have a role in this team moving forward. But I think expectation, they weren't expected to win the series. The injuries overcame them, and there was really nothing that they could do. I think they gave it all they had.
Do you think if the Devils were fully healthy, they could have given them a better fight?
100%. I think they're probably well positioned to win that series if they were fully healthy. You look at Jack Hughes, right? He's a point per game player, someone who's super dynamic, and I think he's a guy that would have exploded offensively. And then they had Jonas Siegenthaler was hurt. Every single defenseman on that back end had injury problems. Luke Hughes out for the series after game 1. Brendan Dillon out for the series after game 1. Kovacevic out for the series after game 3. Like they lost 3 big defenders. Then Dougie Hamilton, hurt for most of the season, came back and only played in game 82 before he played in the playoffs. So was he 100%? Probably not. Brett Pesce wasn't taking any single morning skates. He was eating 6 pucks a game. Like he definitely wasn't 100%. So I think like they just had a ton of injuries on the defensive side that no team could overcome. Who's going to overcome? Any team in the NHL going to overcome their top 3-4 defensemen all hurt? I don't think so.
Yeah. No, it's a good point. Can I throw like a Devils? I don't know if it's a hot take because like other people have said this too, but can I throw a Devil's take at you and just see how you respond to it?
100%. I'm ready.
are the Devils maybe a little too finesse, too perimeter? I don't want to say soft because I'm not going to be disrespectful, but like you get what I'm trying to say, to win in the playoffs.
I knew where you were going with that. I'm going to say no for a couple reasons because that was kind of the expectation like 2 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
They played the Rangers in the first round and beat them in 7 games, and they were technically soft then. And then this year, that was like they had the off year in between where they didn't make the playoffs. And then this year, going into the season, that was the whole thing. Let's add more toughness, more grit. And then they added guys like Paul Cotter, like Stefan Nason, like a Brendan Dillon, a Brett Pesce. And they still didn't kind of make it that far. And they got away from what their strengths was, their speed, their skill, their finesse, and they became a little bit slower this year, a little less finesse driven, and they had less goals per game this year. And maybe some of that is how Sheldon Keefe's stylistic approach to the game was. But I think they kind of have to get back to that. And they do have some, like they signed a guy like Curtis McDermott, right? He's on a $1.15 million deal for another 2 years. He's a guy they insert into the lineup when they need that toughness, but he's not anyone who can kind of play all 82 games. He's a guy you bring in here and there. And like you want to find the Tom Wilsons of the world, right? Like the guys that are unicorns, the Matthew Tkachuks, the Brady Tkachuks, but those guys aren't always available.
Yeah.
So I think you stick to what you know and you kind of try to figure out ways to win that way. But like Jesper Bratt, for example, he's a guy that looks small, but he's so strong on the puck. His edge work is insane.
He's so good.
He throws it. He has like, I think he was the guy, only guy in the league that had like 80 points and 80 hits, something like that this year. So I think people assume because of his size, like he's small, but they like Timo Meyer's pretty big too. Like they got some guys that can throw the body and score. So I don't think that they're necessarily soft.
I appreciate that response, and it makes you got to play to your strengths. You gotta use what you got.
Don't try to be something you're not.
Yeah,
exactly.
Last Devils question I have for you is the media circus that is gone on in Vancouver all year long. You know, with
Hughes brothers.
I mean, that's like the least of it. I mean, Vancouver has been absolutely banana lands, but obviously Quinn Hughes making his voice heard that he wants out of Vancouver and obviously would like to play with his brothers. As a Devils guy, like I would assume you want to see that happen. And if so, what is that going to take? What are you willing to give up to bring Quinn Hughes to the Devils?
So I don't think Quinn has said he wants out of Vancouver yet. I think it's more that Jim Rutherford had stated that he kind of let the fans know that that's a possibility. Yeah. I think it was very purposeful and tactical in what he did so that fans wouldn't kind of jump on his throat if that did happen. Now for Quinn, you got to look at it a couple ways. The Devils have a good amount of leverage in this situation because he's a UFA in 2 seasons. So if they want to wait it out for 2 years and then sign him at no trade acquisition cost, they probably can do that because they have Jack locked up long term. And then Luke's an RFA this year who's probably going to get anywhere from 6 to 8 years on his deal. So the question is, how early do you want to bring Quinn Hughes over? Because right now he's obviously in his prime. He's probably going to win a Norris Trophy this year. He is a top-tier defenseman. If you wait 2 more years, that's Jack getting 2 years more older. That's Quinn getting 2 years more older. And also Quinn's deal at the end of the UFA is going to be a big one. So if you're able to trade for him early without sacrificing too much, I think that's the best play. But then you have to look at what the pieces to that deal might be. Mm-hmm. Is it going to be a top defenseman like a Simone Nemec? You know, is it going to be like any of their prospects? Like that's basically their best prospect on the D side. They drafted Siliev 10th overall. Like maybe he's the guy that's in play. Also, like your draft capital, you don't have your first round pick this year because you traded it for Jacob Markstrom. So is next year's first in play? Like, I don't know. There's a lot of ways to look at it that way. Like our roster players like Dawson Mercer is someone like Dougie Hamilton. That contract might have to move if you're going to bring on Quinn because just making the dollars work. So I think there's a lot of ways to look at it. I think if the cost is right, you bring Quinn over, but I also don't necessarily hate waiting a couple more years unless you think that he's the guy that's going to push you over the edge and your cup window is right now.
Okay. I think I just saw that like I saw that he said that he wanted to be out by like the 2027 deadline, or he like didn't still want to be waiting around by then. So like maybe implying that like maybe like a little deal with the Canucks,
like a soft trade request of some sort.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right, Justin, do you have any other Devils questions or?
Nah, I think we should transition to playoffs. I guess. What series has caught your eye the most so far? What storylines have kind of caught your eye? Yeah.
I mean, dude, where do we even start? Like this year has been ridiculous with the storylines in the playoffs. You start at the Battle of Florida with the suspensions. You start at Mikko Rantanen, Game 7 hero, factoring in on 12 straight goals for his team. It hasn't been since Game 5 that he hasn't been a factor on one of the Avalanche's or the Stars' goals. April 28th, that's like 11 days ago. Like, that's insane. You look at last night's game, like Draisaitl and McDavid in overtime. Like who else, right?
Again,
Literally again. Like there's just so many good things going on. Like the series now that I think out of the 4 left, that is the quietest is the Hurricanes Capitals.
Yeah.
And I thought that those were 2 really good games. Like they're low scoring 3-1, 2-1 in the games, but I thought like that game was really exciting last night. I thought the Capitals did a good job of fending off all the Hurricane shot attempts, and they made them pay when it mattered.
Yeah, I did think that. I thought Game 1 in that series was a little sleepy. The one last night was really good, and
that was a banger. Yeah.
I picked the Canes to win that series, but I'm like, my heart is like, damn, I really want to see Ovi perform.
For the vibes.
I want the Caps to make this a series.
Yeah.
What's your like outlook on that one? Who, now that it's tied 1-1 going back to Carolina, who do you think pulls that one out?
Yeah, I think it's going to be tough. The Hurricanes are really strong at home. They were 31-9-1 at home this year, one of the best home records, and the Capitals weren't necessarily that good on the road. So I think if the Capitals lose both the games in Carolina and are facing a 3-1 deficit, it's going to be hard to overcome.
Yeah.
But I also, at the same time, I think the Capitals are well equipped for their style of play to do well on the road in the playoffs. Look at a guy like Tom Wilson last night. He was reignited. He had a couple big hits. He got a goal, empty netter goal to seal the deal. He had that really nice assist on the Carlson power play. So I look at what they did last night
too. He's laying down.
No, he's an X factor.
I mean, dog.
So that's the guy that you kind of need to jumpstart around. And then I think what they're doing with Ovi too is smart, right? Towards the end of the game, like he's not playing defensively. They're like double shifting. I think like Mangiapane, Beauvillier, like they're kind of getting up where Ovi would be playing towards the end. But Ovi's got to produce offensively, right? That's the guy you need to get the goals. The Hurricanes do have the best penalty kill in the NHL. So it's going to be tough. The Capitals finally broke that streak and scored the first power play goal against the Hurricanes this playoffs yesterday. So I think getting Ovi activated a little bit. I want to see the Capitals win. I do not like the Hurricanes, generally speaking. I just don't think they're not a likable team. I feel like they're just a bunch.
It's just the way they play is so boring to watch. It's effective, but man, it's like watching
paint. It's like the Devil's neutral zone trap, right? In the 90s and 2000s. Like it's so effective, but it's just not conducive to like watching. It's not appealing. And also like they're just a bunch of like pests around you like all the time. Like look at the guy they traded for in the Mikko Rantanen deal. Like Logan Stankoven is a perfect fit for that team. You look at him at the end of the game, he was trying to jab McMichael. Like he was really trying to just activate and just piss you off. And like it's just perfect.
That's another guy who plays bigger than he is.
Yeah. So like those like they're just not likable, but they do a good job. So that's why I'm rooting for the Capitals, and I hope they pull it off. I'm guessing it's going to go to 7. Like that's the series I see going the longest this round.
I think it can go 7, but I think the only way it goes 7 is if Logan Thompson continues to just stand on his head, because
which he has.
He's been unbelievable, and he can definitely do it. But I think if it starts getting to him a little bit, I think the Canes are going to finish it before 7. Is that a fair assessment?
Definitely, but he's also been one of the best goaltenders this regular season. So there's no reason to believe that there's going to be a shift in how he's playing, especially when you have a series and a half under your belt and he hasn't wavered. So I think like that side of it, like I like Logan Thompson, and Charlie Lindgren wasn't available yesterday. So if they have to rely on their third string, like that could get a little dicey.
Honestly, I was going to say my favorite series. I guess it probably is my favorite series right now in the second round. The one I care the most about is the Florida Panthers versus the Toronto Maple Leafs. I'm a bit of like a Panthers guy since the Hawks have been bad the past few years. Like
you're getting nervously.
You got to root for a team that's going to be in the playoffs when the Hawks haven't been there in years.
Yeah, you got to adopt someone,
team.
Right?
Yeah.
And so like it's not like fair weathered. Like I would never, like if the Panthers play the Blackhawks, I wouldn't root for the Panthers. But like come playoff time, I like Florida Panthers hockey. It reminds me of my Blackhawks dynasty team. Sue me. They're down 2-0 in this series against the Toronto Maple Leafs. There's been, obviously, with Toronto, you're always going to see media uproar anytime anything happens with them. But a lot of the narrative is shifted because they're up 2-0. It's like, oh my gosh, the Maple Leafs might actually do this. I still have so much confidence in the Florida Panthers to come back and win this series because I think that Toronto still has to close the series out, and they've proven that they're terrible at that.
Yeah.
What do you make of this series? Do you think that Toronto's going to actually do this? Do you think the Panthers are going to claw back? What are you thinking?
Well, to your point too, like you're not the only one that has faith. Like the bookmakers have faith too. The Florida Panthers are like minus 240 on the money line tonight. They're only like plus 150 to win the series. Like they're giving them like a 40% chance to still win this series, even though they have to win 4 out of 5 games. So I also think too, what's the saying? The series isn't over until you lose at home. Panthers haven't lost at home yet. So if they protect home ice and they go back 2-2 to Toronto, like this series is fully in the balance. But having said that, the Panthers haven't been playing the Panthers style in those 2 games in Toronto. I think Matthew Tkachuk is still a little banged up from 4 Nations. Like he hasn't been his normal self. He has 6 points in 7 playoff games, so that's pretty good. Only one of those points. He looks slow. Only one of those points is at even strength. But like to your point too, like he's always kind of slow. Like they have the NHL edge stats now. Like he comes out, him and like Mark
the slowest in the league or something, or close to
it. Yeah, they're like he's like bottom 3 in speed, but that has not affected him from being a point per game player in the NHL. Like his style isn't revolving around speed, which is good for a long-term career, so good for him. But like he hasn't played really well. I thought like the Matthews line like did really good against the Barkov line, like a couple games. Like usually Barkov is getting the better of those minutes, and that hasn't been the case lately. And then too, like Bobrovsky has not been playoff Bob. Like he's kind of let up a couple goals where you're questioning. You're like, you should probably have this in the playoffs. There's a few goalies like that. You know, we can go to Hellebuck. We can talk about Aiden Hill, but like Bobrovsky hasn't really been bringing it this round. So I think if he tightens his game up a little bit, the Panthers now getting back to getting Ekblad back in the lineup is big, because then they could put Jones Mikkola on that second pair that's done really well when they aren't forced to take on those tougher minutes. So I think that's a pairing that can kind of take a look. And then Mackie Samoskevich has done really well in the regular season. He was out for a few games, but now he's back in the lineup. Is he going to go back on that second line with the Chuck and Bennett? They've been really good in their minutes. So I look for Florida to kind of take the edge. I think they're going to win tonight for sure, and then we'll see what happens in game 4.
So do you think they're going to win tonight? Do you think they come back in this series?
It's a tough one, right? Because they got to win 4 out of 5. Like, and the Maple Leafs do have the history of choking, but at the same time, like this feels like a different Maple Leafs team. Like you look at the ways that they're winning games, like they're not only relying on their big hitters, like Austin Matthews hasn't really scored all that much in this playoffs. Like there's guys that are stepping up. Max Pacioretty has been a point per game player since he got inserted into the lineup. No one expected that. I think John Tavares has played really well. Then you look at the guys like Matthew Knies, William Nylander, Mitch Marner, like they're all getting their stuff done. Like even the back end is really solid. They revamped that in the offseason. They got Tanev, right? Tanev's been a really stabilizing force. Then they got OEL as well. Like Benoit looks really good in that bottom pair. So I think that the Maple Leafs are kind of well positioned. Look at Stolars gets hurt and they just put Joseph Wall in, and then Joseph Wall just seamlessly, like no problem. What have the Maple Leafs ever not had a goaltending issue? That's been their Achilles heel for the longest time, and they're able to now roll 2 goaltenders that are both very solid. Like that's just crazy.
Yeah, this Maple Leafs team is definitely different from Maple Leafs teams in the past, just because of that blue line. With McCabe and Tanev, they're just so solid. Every single one of those guys are just reliable, and that's the thing about it, is like they're not gonna hurt you, you know. And I feel like that's the biggest thing for them. And then you mentioned the goaltending. I thought Wall, I don't think his rebound control was very great in game 2. I thought he looked a little shaky,
for sure,
but he did fight off.
Got the stops.
He got the big stops.
If he had a bad rebound, he made the save on the second shot.
True. But yeah, I think Florida is gonna figure out a way to get to them. I think Florida needs to tighten up a little bit and stop giving so many penalties up.
Too undisciplined.
It didn't hurt him in game 5 necessarily, but it's like you gave them 5 power plays. Like that's all time you're not, even if you kill them all off, that's time you're not spending in the other team's ozone. So I think Florida needs to be a lot more disciplined. And then I'd say the key for the Maple Leafs here is to just keep, you do your best to shut out the noise. You're never going to actually do that. But I feel like the key for the Maple Leafs to win this series is don't engage in a dogfight with this team. Like just don't.
Well, you look at Mitch Marner game 1, like Tkachuk was trying to get at him and he's just dancing around him, like avoiding him. Like he's like, I'm not getting involved in this. This guy can come at me all he wants. I'm just going to pretend he's not even there.
Yeah.
Did you have Florida winning the first round against Tampa, or did you like Tampa in that one?
No, I like Tampa. I was very surprised at how well Florida handled Tampa. I think a lot of people, including myself, had saw that the way Tampa had ended the season and thought that combined with Florida's injuries and combined with the fact that Florida had been to back-to-back Stanley Cup finals, that the fatigue was going to probably set in a little bit. And then couple that with a year where there's four nations and a lot of the Panthers players were in four nations. So you have guys who have played an insane amount of hockey in the last 3 years. So I thought that would have played in a factor. And then Tampa just absolutely got their doors blown off. Kucherov was non-existent. Vasilevsky looked pretty pedestrian out there. And I was really surprised that Florida won. And then in the second round, I'm like, oh, Florida got through Tampa. Who's going to beat them in the East? And then you look at the Toronto Maple Leafs. They're up 1, they're up 2, and you're like, oh, shit, here we go.
Yeah, I might have. Actually, I didn't. Justin might have counted out the Maple Leafs a little too early. I'm not taking that one for you, Justin. You were the one that's been slandering them.
Yeah, I'm not a Leafs guy at all. I hope they find a way to choke here, but we'll see. How about the West? What's caught?
I was gonna say, can we kick it West? I
Yeah,
want to
let's
see
go
Western
West.
Conference.
Yeah, Vegas.
I would love to.
I stayed up for overtime last night, and I had not been doing that. I had been basically during the first to second period, I've been falling asleep for the later games. But last night I was like, it's a Thursday. I don't got to go to the office on Friday. I think that I'm going to stay up, watch these games. And then I was locked in and I was like, God damn it. Of course, this is the game to go to overtime. But there was so much to take away from that game. I mean, just a good back and forth game. Jack Eichel in regulation looked outstanding. That one pass he had to Olofsson just across the seam was one of the sickest passes I have ever seen.
And it was the head movement. It was the
and then
head
in overtime.
He's like, get down.
Oh my gosh. Gross.
And then he gets absolutely cooked in overtime.
Oh my God. He was standing. He was the traffic cone in overtime. But I mean, but then you got you have the hits. I mean, the wall cross check was ridiculous. Like, I think it was just a play where his wires just crossed, and I don't know how you do that.
Did he black out? Like that was.
I think he had to have.
It was so shocking. It was so
shocking. So dumb, so unintelligent, so undisciplined. In overtime, in the playoffs, you put your team down 5-minute major, and they kill the penalty. So I was like, oh, the momentum is shifting to Vegas. And then you had the missed call with the Arvidsson push to
and we're
McNabb.
not happy about that. Yeah.
McNabb's probably out for a few games. Like that looked like a serious injury
separated shoulder
that he sustained. They missed it. Waz going to have a hearing, so he's probably going to get suspension a game or two. And then in overtime, I mean, McDavid and Draisaitl, who have not been, they were pretty quiet during regulation. Like, they didn't really factor in on any of the goals.
Like, not good.
Showed up when it mattered. Yeah.
Showed up when it mattered, though. McDavid just whizzed by Eichel, who was defending him so solidly all game. But all it takes is one for that guy. And then 2-on-1, Petro was just in absolute no man's land. Yep. What are you going to do in that situation? And Draisaitl finishes the job like he always does. I didn't think Aiden Hill had a great game either. The goal, especially to Nurse, like that's not a goal that you can give up. Like clean wrist shot from Darnell Nurse, and no offense to Darnell Nurse, but he's not who I would consider a sniper in the NHL.
No, me neither.
And it wasn't like a ridiculous shot. It was definitely a savable shot. Even the Podkolzin goal I thought was a little savable. Like I didn't think he didn't have his best stuff last night.
And in game one, I think he had a couple that were a bit ahead.
Even the Wild series, like I don't think he was the great in the Wild series. I thought he was I think his goal saved above expected out of the goalies who have played 3 games. He's like ranked 16 out of 18.
Yeah,
so like definitely
not great.
Like not average.
I think the reason why they're able to get away with it is because that Golden Knights defensive core is disgusting. Like I mean they've just got guys all over the place. But
they're able to isolate on the 3 pairs. They're able to have Pietrangelo, Theodore, and Hannafin on 3 different D pairings. Those are all guys who make over $7 million a year. Yeah. Like top end defensemen who are playing 100% of the game.
Yep. Yeah. Every shift you got a dog out there. So I think that's probably why people haven't been as critical of Hill as they have of other goalies, just because of how good that blue line is.
The system.
And they just re-signed him to a bigger deal. Like, is that going to hurt them in the future? Like, it looks like they got the wrong goalie because it looks like Logan Thompson is significantly better than Aiden Hill.
Yeah.
That decision might come back to bite them. Yeah,
they're probably going to be, especially if Thompson keeps tearing it up. You know, they're gonna. It's kind of like the Rantanen situation. I mean, obviously not as big of a as
we can talk about that series.
We'll get
into that. We'll get into that in a sec. But I did see like a bunch of the Vegas guys were like upset about the no call on Arvidsson there, and it's like, dude, I thought Vegas was playing dirty as hell all game.
It's about time to get taste their own medicine.
I cannot believe how, like, I don't know what I'm about to say. Calvin Pickard looked like the best goalie in the league last night. I mean, the Golden Knights are every 2 minutes, they're trying to fall on this guy, hit this guy after the whistle. They were all over him, and he just kept battling and making unreal saves. I'm like, who the fuck is this guy? I couldn't believe it. But them being upset about that, it was a bad no call. It should have been a penalty, but it's like, dude, you kind of play this way all game. You can't be upset that you don't get one now. Is that,
and it's Vegas too. Like we've seen that many times go the other way.
Right. The LTIR specialists out there getting all upset about little rules. But to your point too, I think like it is interesting now. I don't think anyone expected Edmonton to win both games in Vegas's barn. So now they go 2-0 back to their home ice, where they probably just need to split that in order to position themselves to win this series. Yeah. And then they get the winner of the Jets Stars series, which like anything could happen. But the thing with Edmonton, they're getting it with their depth scoring, which never happens for them. Yeah. I was listening to 32 Thoughts, right? Elliott has been basically pounding home this point that with McDavid and Draisaitl off the ice, the Oilers in the regular season, they were minus 20 goal differential. In these playoffs this year, they're plus 7. Wow. So that's a delta of 27. Last playoffs, when they made it to the Cup final and lost the Game 7, they were minus 9 without those guys at 5-on-5. So the fact that they're able to win the goal battle without McDavid and Draisaitl on the ice is a very, very good sign for Edmonton. They got goals last night from Jake Wallman, Podkolzin, like guys who don't normally score. Nurse, they got goals from guys that are not scoring for them. They usually have to rely on Draisaitl, McDavid, Hyman to get the goals. Mm-hmm. And so if they're getting that production throughout these playoffs, they're going to be a really hard team to beat. And you got Calvin Pickard in net, who looks like a stabilizing force. All they needed was average goaltending. That's all they needed was average goaltending. He's probably slightly above average at this point. And they were rolling with Stuart Skinner, who was the worst goaltender in the NHL playoffs through the first 2 games. Small sample size, like maybe he picks it back up if he gets put back in. But it's going to be Calvin Pickard's net for the future. Yeah. Until Calvin Pickard gets blown out, it's going to be him. Do you think part of that, with like going back to that depth scoring point that you made, do you think part of it is that like Knoblauch has seemingly completely gone with, hey, McDavid and Draisaitl are playing on the same line, and that's what it's going to be. Whereas, like, I feel like last year, and I mean, the past few seasons, they do try to split them up a lot and have them both center their own lines. Do you think part of it is like, hey, these two are going to play on a line together. They're going to produce every night. We just need something out of you guys, and that should be enough. That's a good point and a good question. Like they had gone back and forth in the playoffs between splitting them up and putting them together. Yeah. I think in that first series, what they did is they split them up when they were on the road when LA could match up against them. So they tried to even that out. But then obviously in the first 2 games here, they put Corey Perry on that line, both games, no problem for them. I think that's a good point. Like, I think that could be part of the reason why that they're doing so well is they're like, these are our horses. You guys need to do something like in your minutes. But like, I just think that the Oilers went through it last year too. I think a lot of like getting so close and not finishing the job has really woken them up a little bit. And I think that second line of Evander Kane, Ryan Nugent-Hopkins, Zach Hyman, like they've kind of formed a nice little group there. Yeah. They look good. They win their minutes. They're getting goals. They're getting production. So I think having a second line that can actually do something is really helpful for them. And then the bottom 6, like guys like Connor Brown is really putting the puck in the back of the net. A guy who didn't score in his first 55 regular season games last year is now starting to score. He has as many goals in the playoffs this year as he did in the regular season last year. Yeah, he's been a force for them. I'm just stunned by this Oilers team. Like they've racked my brain so much over the Kings series. I made a fool of myself. I promised the Kings win in Game 5, and obviously we know how that game went. But the thing with this Oilers team is that I'm like, their defense is mid at best. Like these guys are not good defensively. Like I know that Nurse and Bouchard are looking
great.
Like John Klingberg, who was like awful like 2-3 years ago, like had a lot of injuries, like graded out analytically as one of the worst defensemen in the NHL. He stepped into this role in the playoffs. He looks kind of good out there. He does, but Keith, we're talking about John Klingberg right now. You know what I'm saying? Right. You know what That's I'm saying? What I mean, though. But like, I thought like, okay, this team, we know what they have. You know, they've got 2 of the best players in the world, Connor McDavid, Leon Draisaitl. They're inevitable. The goaltending situation's a bit of a mess. These defensemen that they have aren't the best defensively. No, when they're six guys, who's good defensively? Like you could argue like almost like none of them are really that good defensively. Like Darnell Nurse got eaten alive last year in the playoffs. Like Evan Bouchard's a total offensive juggernaut.
Yeah, he's a traffic
like
cone. Yeah.
Jake Wallman also like more offensively inclined than defensively. John Klingberg more offensively inclined than defensively. So like they don't really have a shutdown guy.
Yeah, if Ekholm out, yeah.
So like that's been my dilemma.
And that's a huge loss to them, and they're just riding through without
They're just
it.
rolling with it.
If he gets back into the lineup, who's going to beat this?
They're going to win the Stanley Cup if Ekholm gets back, because it's like they are defeating every law of like hockey. They break every rule. Like it's supposed to be defense. Like we always see, especially as the series goes on in the playoffs, it's always the better defensive team wins. It's always the team with the better defense and the better goaltending. It's like not even the case with this team, but they're just outscoring. I've never seen anything like it, and now I want to see how far they can take it.
Yeah, it's just exciting hockey too. Like we mentioned the Washington Carolina series, like you said, it was kind of yawn fest in game one. Like there is no yawn fest in this series. Like we got a 5-4 game last night. We got a 4-2 game in game one. They're putting pucks behind the net. It's fast paced. It's what you want to see from a fan.
How about the Dallas Jets series? Where do you think that one's going to go? I think we're both sold on Dallas here. Think the Jets could take them? Yeah.
Oh my God. So here's my thing, right? The Dallas Stars, I have loved them for a couple years now. I thought they were going to win the Stanley Cup last year before. Like it obviously didn't pan out. Then this year, I thought that them drawing Colorado in the first round was really really messed up. Like I was like, that's a tough matchup. And they squeaked it out in 7 games on the back of the guy who they traded at the beginning of the year, Mikko Rantanen. And then this guy looks like a man possessed. On our show that we're going to do in like 45 minutes, our thumbnail, our title is going to be NHL's new Pope. And it's just going to be a picture of Mikko Rantanen because he's the savior.
Write that down.
14 points his last 4 games.
Yeah, he is putting up an astronomical amount of points. No one ever beats Connor McDavid on a points per game basis in the playoffs over like the last 5 years. Mikko Rantanen is above him this year right now. So that's one thing. But two, also like the Dallas Stars are getting back Jason Robertson. They're going to get back Miro Heiskanen. Yep. Like they're getting back guys that are top end players. Their forward group is as deep as any forward group I've seen. Their top 9, like I don't think their top 9. This stacks up against every single other top 9 in the NHL.
Like 3 first lines.
They've got like Johnston playing on the third line.
Right, with Robertson, and then they got hints with Granlund. You got the Finn line. Then you got the old vet line. You got Ben, Duchesne, and Sagan. And then Mason Marchment also in the mix. Like that group is ridiculous. It's going to be hard for the Winnipeg Jets. Having said that, though, like the Winnipeg whiteout is sick. So I think Winnipeg needs to win tonight. They need to get this series 1-1 if they want to have any chance. Connor Hellebuck, we've talked about it ad nauseum on our show. He has not performed in the playoffs in the first round, especially on the road. At home, he's been better, but he still hasn't been his regular season self. Game 1, I thought he played pretty well. I wouldn't have necessarily faulted him for any of the goals that went in. So I thought that was at least a positive sign for Winnipeg. They need him, though. Like, it's also funny because Jake Ottinger's sitting on the goal for Dallas, who's a potential also USA goaltender. Yeah. So the battle of these two guys, like, whoever comes out on top, you're going to have to give the slight edge to getting that start in Milan in February. Mm-hmm. I think Connor Hellebuck has to look at that and be like, I need to be better than this guy. I need to make saves that he isn't making, and I need to beat him. So I look at that.
Games.
Yep. Kyle Connor has been scoring at a great pace. Another guy who was Four Nations healthy scratch in the final, only like leads the playoffs in goals. No big deal. Besides Mikko Rantanen, obviously.
He's been unbelievable.
But he's a guy that I look to step it up. Like Nikolai Ehlers just came back late in that series. He's really good offensively. Mark Scheifele got on the score sheet last game. He got back in the lineup last game. So there are some pieces. It looks like Josh Morrissey's going to enter and play tonight, which is a big, like he's their best defenseman. So that slots everyone up a spot that they shouldn't be playing with him being back in the lineup. He's going to run that power play 1. I think they're in for a tough battle. I think Dallas is definitely the better team on paper, but that's why they play these games, in person. And defensively, if you're going to beat Dallas, you're going to have to attack their D-core. Their defense is probably one of the weakest without Miro Heiskanen in the NHL in the playoffs right now. And so if you're going to win this series, you're going to have to go at that D-core and you're going to have to attack their weakness.
Keith, we don't want to keep you too long. One question I do want to ask you about the Hellebuck situation that I just want to get your take on this. Look, Dallas is clearly a better offensive team than St. Louis. I think everybody knows that. It's statistically proven. We don't have to spend time debating that. But I almost feel like this series against Dallas is a better opportunity for Connor Hellebuck to perform, because it's like the way St. Louis was scoring is like they're grimy, they're dirty, they're getting in front of the goaltender. It's just all this net front shit, shots from the point, maybe harder to see. Whereas Dallas, it's like it's going to be a lot of the transition stuff. You're going to be seeing a lot of these shots. It's just, can you make the saves? Is that a fair assessment?
Yes and no. Like, to me, what St. Louis was doing, they were beating him a lot on the glove side above the glove, right? So the grimy goals are usually the ones where you're just jamming it in, you're poking it in. Like, they were actually beating him on shots that he should be saving. And so that's kind of where the Dallas Stars thrive, especially a guy like Mikko Rantanen, right? People are calling him the sniper. He doesn't really get like a ton of scoring chances, but when you feed him the puck, he's going to find a way to get it in the back of the net. And he's going to snipe it. And so to me, Connor Hellebuck, he just needs to find his regular season form. Like, back-to-back regular seasons, he's unquestionably the best goaltender in the NHL. He makes saves that no one else has been making. His numbers like speak for themselves. Maybe he's playing too many games in the regular season. It wears on him a little bit as the playoffs kind of get on. Like, to me, maybe you kind of figure out a way to get him less games, because he needs to be better in the playoffs, and he's proven that he hasn't been that good. And in Four Nations, you thought he might have turned a corner because he looked pretty good in that tournament, and he played well in the championship game. So I'm like, all right, maybe this guy can play in big games, but I think maybe it's just more of like a fatigue issue as opposed to like a mental issue.
Yeah, we have a part of the show who kind of said a lot of the same stuff. Tassos, who thinks that the Jets kind of been overloading him a bit. I think that's what Lee over there was smiling about. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I think it's true. I think they obviously have been overloading him. I just think I think that maybe accounts for like 20% of it. Like I do just think that like
it's a pressure thing.
We see a different guy in the playoffs. Like I think that that's also true. Keith, we appreciate you. Before you get out of here, give us your Stanley Cup final prediction. Who gets there? Who wins it?
I think I'm going to do something that I think a lot of Americans are going to hate, both fans and I think
Oilers,
the media
Leafs.
rights guys are going to do it. But I'm going Leafs Oilers. I'm going Oilers in 6.
Oh no.
I'm going Oilers in 6. I think in that series the Oilers would be the away team, so I think they would be home in Game 6. Do I like to do that? No. Would I have done that before the playoffs started? No. Would I have done that before round 2 started? No. But I think that now the Maple Leafs are in a position to make it to the Eastern Conference Finals. I think between the Capitals and the Hurricanes, whoever makes it out of that series, I think that the way the Maple Leafs are playing, I think they're kind of playing better than both of those teams.
Agreed.
So just looking a small sample size too, like Florida can easily win the next 4, and then I look like a freaking idiot, which is totally fine too.
It happens.
But where we're at right now on May 9th, the current place of the rounds, I'm looking at teams that are already in a good spot to make it to the conference finals, and it's the Oilers and it's the Maple Leafs. And if they battle against each other, I like Edmonton because they were there last year, similar to the Florida Panthers last year when they had played against Vegas and lost. I think it's second time's a charm for them, and I say Connor McDavid is finally hoisting the cup.
The NHL would just that's the ideal outcome for the
That's what I was
NHL.
gonna say.
It's not though. It's not.
You don't
it's
think
not.
really? You think they
really?
need an American?
I'll tell you why it's not. The
American ratings.
From the American side of things, right? The Canadian media rights deal is already done. So the American media rights deal is about 60% of the way through. So they need to re-up that deal. If they have an all-Canadian final, the ratings are going to be down. The revenue is going to be down. The Canadian dollar is worse than the American dollar. So from a league health perspective, it's not the greatest Stanley Cup final. Ratings are down because there's no New York, there's no Chicago, there's no Boston, no Pittsburgh, no Detroit.
No,
none of those
American
teams are in the
original six
playoffs.
teams. Yeah.
None of the Blue Bloods.
So it's tough but the Canadian ratings are thriving, but the money there is also like less valuable.
And they did just the NHL just put out, I think yesterday, like a conversation of Pete DeBoer talking with Paul Maurice. They're definitely trying to, I think they're trying to set that up a little bit, but since the Panthers went down too, they're like, shit, we got to
have you guys also been seeing the like the thing online is showing like the ESPN highlight of the goal and then the Sportsnet highlight of the goal, and then seeing like the difference in crowd noises?
It's the ESPN stuff has been so bad. Like the broadcast all around has been.
Did you see they cut to commercial?
Just random commercials during the play.
Yeah, what the hell was that? And then also, just the highlights on YouTube too. Sportsnets are way better because
I watch Sportsnets every day.
NHL doesn't show any of the hits or physicality or fights or anything.
They're not allowed to. They're not allowed to.
Okay.
So there's reasons, but still, like Sportsnet's is definitely way better. Their
Yeah.
broadcast is better. They have the crowd noise is better. TNT was having remote broadcast in the first round. Like
that disgusts me.
I know it was tough. It's tough, and that's why the Canadian broadcasts are just better. It seems like.
All right. Well, Keith, we appreciate you so much for coming on. We'd love to have you anytime.
Yes.
Enjoy the rest of your playoffs, and we'll talk soon. All right.
Absolutely. Sounds good, guys. Tune into the Puckpedia show after you guys are done. We got our show going in about a half hour.
What
Puckpedia.
time? What time do you guys normally go live at?
It's usually like 4 o'clock on Monday through Thursday, and then Friday we do it a little earlier so we can enjoy the weekend.
Okay, good to know.
Very nice.
Yes,
Yeah.
everybody check it out. Be
Eastern,
sure to.
4 o'clock Eastern, so
Okay.
3 p.m. Central.
Okay. All right. Well, we will talk soon. All right.
All right, sounds good, guys.
Yeah.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank
That
you.
was Keith Kavanaugh. Everybody, we appreciate him coming on, talking these series with Justin and I. Because I mean, Justin, let's be honest. We do this like almost every day. It's more fun when we get more people involved, right?
I agree, right? It's nice to get difference of opinions too. And
Yeah.
sometimes there might be days where we're agreeing and everything. So it's good to have somebody else come in and kind of challenge our talking points. So enjoy that. Yeah.
Yeah, very true. Okay, I think we're gonna hit a quick break here because we've still got to tee up the weekend games. We've got another Mount Rushmore for you guys. So all that and more after the break. Stick around. We'll see you in a sec. Welcome back. Chicago Hockey Radio. I'm Lee Grossman. Justin Lynch is here still. We didn't go anywhere, obviously. Mount Rushmore. I lost again.
What happened? Weren't you winning?
I don't know what's going on behind the scenes with the votes. I was looking pretty good at the start of it, and then it started to fall off. There were also some comments saying that my team was like team one, easy. This team one, those are all class. Like, oh well. You know, it happens.
The votes, like, overnight, once again, there's something going on, like these mail-in votes or something overnight. Like, they keep changing. Like, Team 3 had, like, no votes when I went to sleep last night. Then we start the show, and all of a sudden, they're, like, top of the board. Or now they won, but they were close. Even me, like, I dropped quite a bit, too. They finished, Team 3 finished second. They're ahead of me now, even. I finished third, and I guess you finished last. So we go from finishing 1, 2 to 3, 4.
Not great. It's not a democracy here.
You have the Hawks and the Red Wings in yours.
I know. And I guess maybe the pander picks aren't working anymore, or maybe it's funny business. I don't know. I'm excited for you guys to see this one. It was another good one. All these have been fun to do, and I think you guys have been enjoying them. So without further ado, here is Chicago Hockey Radio's Mount Rushmore of best hockey rivalries.
All right, everybody, it is time. It is time.
Damn.
For the Mount Rushmore of hockey rivalries. The order is myself with the first pick, then Lee, then Justin, then Raven and Tim. And 1-1. I think this is the 1-1. I might be wrong, but I think it is. It's Bruins Canadiens.
Oh, thank God.
I think that's the number one NHL rivalry of all time.
I would agree.
Yeah. Well,
In terms of hatred, it's up there.
Yeah, it is. But I'm at 2 now, right? I get to pick. Mm-hmm. I'm gonna take the Blackhawks versus the Red Wings.
Yeah, I thought about it, but they don't play in the same conference anymore.
You're right. Like it is Habs Bruins.
It's the right pick, but the pander pick, Lee nailed it.
Yeah.
And I assume like we could pick like that doesn't just leave the Hawks off the table now for any.
No, it does
not.
No.
All right. Well, then the logical next bet here is Hawks Blues.
Mm.
Yeah. I mean, there are better rivalries, but gotta get my Hawks in there.
Mm-hmm.
For our pick, we're gonna take USA versus Canada.
Oh,
Nice.
great!
Oh,
that's what I was gonna take.
I didn't even think of international. How stupid of me. That's good.
And I think for our second one, we're going to take USA versus USSR.
The Soviet Union? Back to back.
Back
These
to back,
guys.
amazing.
Oh,
Okay.
I've been stunned. I don't even know where to go from there. These guys just won the draft. Give me the Battle of Alberta. Yeah.
Good one.
Yeah. Some old school rivalries there. Yeah, I like that.
Okay.
Know where these gonna go?
Do you?
Maybe not.
Ah, fuck. Okay. I'll go with the. I'll do the Habs and the Leafs.
As a Leafs fan, not a rivalry that has really been flourishing, I would say, over the last decade.
Not of late, no.
I would say the Sens are maybe more of a rival now.
Well, because they're, recency
the Leafs,
bias.
the
Bros
Leafs
playing them in the first round.
Well, no, the Leafs and the Habs played in the first round a couple of years ago. I just think like the Habs are bad.
It's all time. I'm not saying right now this is the best rivalry in all of sports.
Yeah.
Bro's trying to shit on my pick right now.
Yeah.
That's a fair one.
Because
historically,
I would have picked Maple Leaf Sens before that.
That's not as.
Are you gonna pick it then?
Yeah, pick it then.
No, but there are better picks to be had. I'm gonna go with Flyers Penguins.
Really?
Yeah. Oh, those two teams still get after it, even when they stink. And Give me Islanders Rangers too.
Huh.
A couple of Metro matchups.
Interesting. All right, Mr. Lee. Will we go for it this time?
I need some international, so I'm gonna go with Sweden, Finland.
Yeah. Okay, this is definitely a recency pick, but I honestly thought Lee was going to take it. And right now, there's some bad blood between these two, hotbeds of hockey markets here. Give me the Battle of Florida.
It's a good one. That was gonna.
Right now, right this second.
I would have taken it at 4, because it is a good one.
I'm telling history more, but I think right now, yeah. I know what to do my last pick.
For our third pick, we are going to take the Penguins versus Caps.
That is the other Metro matchup.
Crosby versus Ovi, more likely. Yeah. Will that still be a bigger rivalry when those two are gone? We'll see.
It's a good pick.
Yeah.
And then we have one more. We will be taking the Oilers versus the Flames.
Already off the board.
Already got that, buddy.
My bad.
Trying to steal my flow.
Did you take Rangers Flyers? I took Flyers versus someone.
I took Flyers Penguins and I took Rangers Islanders.
So I will be taking Rangers Flyers.
Rangers Flyers. That's a good one.
Well, when I think of all time, not just hockey rivalries, but sports rivalries, I think this is one of the absolute elite ones up there. Give me the Rockford Ice Dogs and the Chicago Wolves.
Stop. Are you serious?
I'm dead serious right now. Hogs, Wolves, baby. Those teams despise each other.
That's not a real pick.
Yeah, it's a real one. Yeah.
There's other... Yeah, I don't know. I won't chirp you too hard, but that's...
I already like my picks, so that's a have fun one with the fourth one. Get some Rockford votes in there from the Chicago crowd.
Do I want to go... I don't know if I want to go recent NHL or if I want to go, or if I should get some New York teams. I'm going to go Rangers Devils. I'll go Rangers Devils for my last pick.
There's a lot of good rivalries still on the board here. There's an NHL one I want to pick. There's a college one and there's a international one. I think I'm going to go NHL though on this. I'm going to go Red Wings Avalanche.
Yeah. I was thinking about it, but it's not really a rivalry anymore.
It's not.
It's
not. I just couldn't. That one's such a big one historically that I couldn't leave it off. The other two I was going to go with were Canada and Russia. Which is the other mix of countries out of our international guys. And then there's good college ones. You could have done BC or BU, Michigan State.
Of that.
Yeah, I don't know. There's some good college hockey ones too. Minnesota versus, whoever.
We didn't pick any college ones, actually. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Got an AHL one, but not a college one. That was a pick of all time. Leaf Sabres.
It's not a rivalry. They kick our ass.
That doesn't really move me. No.
Oilers, Jets, kind of a little bit. Vancouver, Boston, not so much anymore. But
Vancouver Flames. Yeah.
Could have done Vancouver, Chicago if you wanted a fucking pain.
2010s. Yeah,
I thought about it. I thought about just going all Blackhawks rivalries.
Yeah, I thought. Yeah.
But yeah, okay. Well, that was a fun one. Cool.
Nice.
Coyotes versus Blue Jackets.
All
right.
Yeah.
That's it. Let's throw it back to the show.
Justin, watching that back, I'm so annoyed. Tassos will chirp me and talk shit to me about literally anything. This guy tries to hit me with my second pick. I say Leafs Habs for my second pick, you know, a historical rivalry, one of the biggest rivalries in hockey ever. This guy goes, it's not really anymore. It's not really anymore. Like, I would go Ottawa over Leafs Habs. And then you know what his next 3 picks are? He goes Flyers Pens, Isles Rangers, and then he goes Wings Avalanche. Are his 3, like, none of those are rivalries anymore. Like, realistic, like I guess maybe the Flyers and the Pens still have, but it's like, what are those, either of those teams now? I'm like, dude, are you serious? Are you seriously going to say, oh, yeah, I wouldn't go with that anymore, and then take the Wings and the Avalanche? Are you being serious right now, Justin?
I think clearly the best pick of the lot was Ice Hogs Wolves by yours truly. That was me knowing it already had enough to not finish last, so just throw it in a pick for fun. I've done that a lot with these. Like, my last pick's just been some bullshit pick.
I also think you overreacted a little bit to Raven and Tim team taking Canada, USA, and then USA. Like, don't get me wrong, they're big, but just like, you're not going to go with any NHL teams here? We're you know, it's just international. I mean, I guess, maybe.
They know people are going to vote for that, right? Yeah.
I guess. And apparently they did. I guess they cared more about the international rivalries more so than the NHL one. So noted, back pocket information. We continue to move, knowing that now. I guess.
Yeah, exactly. Hawks Blues, I knew would be good enough for me. As long as I had that, I knew I wouldn't finish last. But I can't believe you finished last of Hawks Wings. That's a crazy work there.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, yes, to be fair, maybe it's not as big a rivalry now as it used to be, but I don't know, dude. It's still Hawks Wings,
Hawks
OG6.
Wings.
Like, honestly, like, even though the Blues are our biggest rival now, like, I still think more of the Wings rivalry than the Blues rivalry. I would have taken it if I had to pick. Yeah.
Of course, yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting results there. Yeah, finished in last. I thought I picked quite well. I'm still happy with it. And I'm unhappy with the Tassos slander. I mean, seriously, Toronto, Ottawa, that, like, more than Leafs Habs. Like, what are we doing here? And then for him but then for him to go straight history merchant after grilling me for that is nasty work.
Yeah, for him to say, "Oh yeah, Habs Leafs isn't a rivalry anymore," then go Wings Avalanche. Like, that was a rivalry like 20 years ago.
It's like in the 90s, dude. Like, I never watched that rivalry. You know, like, what are we doing here?
Yeah, Raw was fighting Osgood while I was swimming around. I wasn't even alive yet.
Yeah, literally, dude. Oh my gosh, that's so funny. Okay, let's get back to Tassos never beating the old man allocation, says Crystal. Oh, that's funny. All right, let's get back to playoff talk here. I guess we can start teeing up these games over the weekend. We can kind of revisit the past games too if we need to here. Sure. So the first one tonight, the 6 o'clock start, obviously, we got Panthers Leafs game 3 back at the Amerant Bank Arena in Sunrise, Florida. As Keith mentioned, Florida massive favorites on the sports book, minus 230. Honestly, like, if I was like, I'm obviously not going to be clicking a money line here, but if I were, I would be on Toronto's side. Like, maybe I'd be on Toronto plus 1.5 here. Like, that is kind of crazy work that Florida's that big of a favorite. It's like, they better wax them then, because I don't know if there's much value there. What are you feeling from this game? I'd assume you think Florida's gonna get this one, right?
I'm afraid to start talking because I feel like every time I write off this Leafs team, they don't write back. So they should. Like, they're down 2-0, but, you know, to be fair, those first 2 games were in Toronto. I do think they were kind of important games for the Leafs to win. And I still feel the same way about this Florida team, where it's like, I don't really know if it really matters where they are in the series. I think they can come back and make it their own at any point. So I think being down 2-0 isn't like, you know, I don't think it's going to put them out of their elements. I think it puts the pressure on a little bit, but no, back home. And there is that old saying you did bring up, right? Until you lose a playoff game at home, like, you're in the series, right? So I think the Panthers can have a dominant performance or just a win today. Like, that gets them right back in it. Ideally, you win both and tie the series going back to Toronto. But yeah, I mean, I think for this game, I feel pretty good about them. I mean, the games are pretty damn close so far, and the Leafs have had the narrow edge of both of them. But I think it'll change. The series will kind of the tides will turn going back home, I think. I think the Leafs have felt pretty comfortable with that 2-0 lead there. but it's a series. You got to win 4 games. I just think the Panthers, they still have played their best hockey in this series, but I think it'll start to come back the other way here. I hope so, at least.
The reason why I'm like, I've stayed confident in the Panthers is because like they really do play so much better when their back's against the wall.
Yeah.
They like weirdly love
They thrive under pressure.
They love to be underdogs. Like they love to be they love to be counted out and doubted. Which I think is good, you know, heading back home down 2-0. Yeah, like you could almost say that the Panthers have just been aura farming here in games 1 and 2, just so that they can like set up the comeback better, just so that they look cooler at the end of the series.
Because they've killed the Leafs before, right? In 5 games, so they want to do it differently this time.
But Justin, to like not just like leave it at aura farming and move on, because I know that's not very in depth. I just think we've seen the Panthers in much worse spots, in much worse situations than 2-0 down to the Leafs in the second round. You know?
It's not like we've ever seen them come back in series and be down and like, you know, and turn the tide on its head there. Right? I think once they find their game in this series, they're not going to lose it, I would hope, and it'll just kind of roll from there. So, no, I could so easily see them pulling off the comeback and winning in 6-7 games here.
They were down like 3-1 in a series to like the best regular season team of all time. And it's like you think the Leafs are like the mountain they're not going to be able to ascend. Like
I mean, I gotta give them credit though, man. Like maybe I definitely haven't given this Leafs team enough credit in these playoffs, right? I mean, you know me, I'm not a big fan of those Leafs, but I didn't expect them to win these first 2 games. Like maybe the first one, but to take a 2-0 lead. They play good hockey, man. Like they've kind of stood the test so far. They haven't really let them get in their heads. They've kind of stuck to their game plan. So I think for Florida, that's kind of what they've been trying to do, is kind of get them out of their element and get in their heads. But Toronto hasn't taken the bait so far, and will they stay that way is a question. I think for the Leafs, just keep playing your game, right? Don't overthink it. I think just the fact too that it hasn't just gone through those core 4. We said it. They're never going to win solely through the core 4. They got to get the depth, contributions, and all that. And they've been getting that in these playoffs. Even some of those members like Matthews hasn't exactly been insane, right? Marner's been damn good. Nylander's been good offensively. That is. So it's like they're getting the contributions to the guy that needs to. So you got to give him credit. But like I'm not just going to sit here and be like, oh yeah, Florida's definitely got this comeback, you know, signed, sealed, delivered. Like I still feel pretty confident for them. I think they're going to pull it off, but I'd be lying to you if I claimed I'm not a little nervous right now.
My whole thing is that like, because you and I predicted this series differently. I think you said Leafs in like, or sorry, Leafs. You said Panthers in like 4 or 5. I think I said Panthers in like 6 or 7. I still think this is going to be a series. It's just too early for me to be like, oh, I didn't see this coming. I thought the Leafs were going to win game 1. I thought they kind of needed to win the first 2 games at home if they wanted a shot in this series. And I think they did that. It's not really going to change. It just hasn't really changed my outlook on the series a whole lot, if I'm being honest with you. It's like the Panthers have not played their best hockey yet. I would assume they're going to get to, because they've proven time and time again over the past couple years they're very capable of it. I think this is going to go 7. I think we're going to have a series, but I do think that the Panthers are still going to come out on top. And I don't know, like obviously Panthers being a massive favorite tonight. Look, if the Leafs are able to go up 3-0, I'm going to be like, I think the Leafs probably are going to be able to take this one. Even if they go up 3-0 tonight, do I think that the Panthers aren't going to rattle 2 or 3 off in a row? No, but I don't think the Panthers are going to win 4 in a row. I will say that. So
tonight's a must win then.
Yeah. That's what I would say. Tonight is a must win game for the Florida Panthers. I have no obviously I'm not putting little old Lee on Chicago Hockey Radio is not putting the pressure on the Florida Panthers, but I'm okay with that narrative being out there and the pressure going on this team, because I think this team performs so well under pressure. Something I want to ask you, Justin, about this series, and I guess it's more about the Panthers than it is this series with the Maple Leafs. The officiating has been a conversation every single game with this Florida Panthers team.
Yeah.
It was so, some of the decisions in game 2 were so weird and shocking. Obviously the embellishment. So they get Lawton on the boarding, 4-minute boarding call, but then Erod gets hit with a 2-minute embellishment penalty. there was also a hit on, I think it was Yarncrow took a hit. I don't even remember who gave him the hit, but someone lit him up like in the middle of the ice. And then he kind of takes a run at a guy afterwards, and then he gets called. Does it feel to you like these NHL referees do not know how to call these Florida Panthers games a little bit?
It seems to me, not to put the tinfoil hat on, but it does feel like the Leafs have gotten more calls than pretty much any other team in these playoffs. Like I swear they seem to get like 5 power plays a game, and that game too. I'm sorry, that was a terribly officiated game. Like there was just one instance that came out even strength. I think that was the play that you just referenced. Like how the Panthers not get a power play out there? Like you're gonna call that an embellishment? Like are you kidding me? Like it was thrown at first into the boards. Like how do you embellish that? Like I don't know, man. But that's the way the Panthers play. They obviously there's gonna be a lot of calls, and I do think they have been a bit on discipline where it's like they've invited those calls. I mean, sometimes they don't get called the playoffs, sometimes they do, but yeah, I just think the way they play, maybe it's just not really like a lot of teams in the NHL, where maybe it just throws these referees off a little bit. It's very old school, right? But yeah,
you know what? Sorry to cut you off, but you know what this feels like to me? And like you just mentioned, you feel like they've gotten 5 every game. I mean, they had 8 power play opportunities through 2 games, so it's 4 a game,
pretty close,
which is still a lot. You know what it feels like? It feels like the NHL is like trying to overcorrect. Like you saw all this media outrage, you saw everybody getting up super
about
upset
the Tampa series.
Yeah,
and,
dude, is this like an overcorrection here that we're seeing? That like now, we got to crack down and make sure these guys aren't getting away with stuff.
Maybe it is, but yeah, I just don't love games being called like that, especially in the playoffs, right? Like if you're, I mean, obviously call the penalties are clear cut. There's no debate, no talk about it, but it does feel like there's some where it's like, really, you're calling that in a game like this? Like I prefer the games where the refs are the least involved and it's just the most pure. But I get it. It is the Panthers are going to play like that. They're going to draw those calls. So, but yeah, maybe in response to the Tampa series, because there was so much dialogue around that series. I feel like every game there was some controversial hit or something where it's like, oh, but was that suspension or the yada yada? There's been talks around that in this series too. Those same talks that were brought up, and it's the narrative does seem to follow this Panthers team around. I have noticed, so maybe that is some type of response there. I don't know. But yeah, it's something the Panthers got to deal with. I mean, do they have to change up their game plan? I don't know. It's worked for them so far, but if they go down 3-0, then maybe they do. Yeah.
I just like I obviously I'm not oblivious to everything. I understand that it is human nature that like you've got 3 rats on this team, right?
Yeah,
I mean, the whole
pests
team
everywhere.
The whole team are a bunch of pests, but like they've got 3 of the biggest pests in the entire NHL.
Yeah.
I understand that like some guys aren't going to get the benefit of the doubt all the time and people are going to be watching them under a closer lens. But like if you're an NHL referee, like you've still got to try to call these games as individuals. Like you got to take them one at a time. You can't be thinking about, oh, this guy in the past game missed this and this guy got away with this, so I need to be It's like, no, you got to call these games individually because like, yeah, that call on that embellishment by Evan Rodriguez, his fucking face goes straight into the boards. Like that's how do you embellish that? Like what are they gonna do? Like he's faking. Like trust me, dude. Like I've smacked my face against plexiglass just that hard. Trust me, it doesn't. It's like, what are you like trying to argue here? You got to take these games one at a time, I think, and not be worried about. You can't be worried about all the extra shit as a referee. Yeah. It's like just fucking call the game, man.
I do feel like there've been like a lot of makeup calls in some of these Florida games based off of past actions, but it's like, no, you got to call balls and strikes. Just the game as it is. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. And Justin, if you continue to do that, like if you continue to just keep taking past instances here and like trying to do makeup calls or trying to overcorrect, or even if the you're coming through a lens of like, oh, we got to do a better job keeping these guys safe. Like if you're focusing too much on it, it's just going to make the narrative grow and grow because you're going to not do a good job.
Yeah, and it takes away from the game too.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know.
I don't want to keep saying it, but I'll keep talking about it if it keeps happening because
that's fair.
Kind of the job here. So, all right, let's I guess the second game.
You want to do score predictions for this Leafs Panthers game?
Sure.
Yeah. Well, I'm afraid. I feel like I've got everything wrong with this series. Yeah, and I don't want to. I mean, but I mean, it's a desperation game. And look, if there's a team in desperation that probably have the most trust in, it's Florida. So I say they take this one tonight. I will say 4-3. Yeah.
I'm gonna go 5-2 Panthers. I think
Okay.
they take care of business. I think it's probably 4-2, and then they get an empty netter. Yeah, I think that betting on a team that's gonna, that's as good as the Florida Panthers that are gonna be playing desperate hockey, I have no problem putting my reputation on the line and picking them.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'll say Florida Panthers tonight 5-2. I think they get it done, and then on to get, because dude, if they're able to like put up a performance like that where it's like they kind of dominate and they clearly get the better of them, then
right
the
back
narrative,
to their
the narrative is gonna, it's like, oh, here are the Panthers. They just need one, dude. They just need one.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think we both think they're gonna get that one tonight.
Mm-hmm. I hope so. Yeah.
Okay, and then let's the other game tonight, the late game, Dallas versus Winnipeg, game 2, still in Winnipeg, obviously. It was a close game. I was impressed with the way that the Stars battled. There were some stats. I forget what they were, but it was like Winnipeg's been like perfect in game 1s, and Dallas is started from behind and hasn't won a game 1 in a long time. And so I think for Dallas to come in, and I know you and I both kind of had Dallas in 5, but I still think for them to go into that arena, with the whiteout in the hostile territory, Dallas and Winnipeg are obviously not very close to each other on the map. For them to go into that building and pull off a win like that, it was impressive.
Oh yeah, and it's the first game that the Jets have lost at home too, so something to be said there as well. Actually, I went further than you. You said Dallas in 5. I said it actually be a sweep. So only need 3 more to make that happen. Which again, I think it's very possible. Obviously, they got J-Rob back, which is big, and Haskinen's still out, but it seems like he might be back pretty soon. So this team, man, I just think the way they're rolling right now, the way Ratnev's rolling, another hat trick for him. 14 points last 4 games. He's been an absolute tear. Top producer of the playoffs right now. The Jets will be getting back Morrissey, so that is that is big. I'm not going to ignore that, but I still feel pretty good about the Dallas in this game too. Like I think after that game 1, they did what they need to do, and Ottawa played hell. I think it's going to continue in these playoffs. So I think Stars take game 2 as well. Yeah.
Okay. I think I did honestly like what I saw from Winnipeg in that game on Wednesday. I do think I'm going to lean towards them tonight. I think it's going to be another close one, though. I think Morrissey back. I think Hellebuck did look better in that game than he did the entire first round. I think we're going to see more of the same. I think he's going to look good again tonight. And then, I don't know. I think that you can't, if you're Dallas, like, I know they're loaded offensively, but like they have been absolutely relying on Mikko Rantanen the past few games here. Like he's been on every single one of their goals. Like he's not going to he's been unbelievable. I don't think he can continue to put up, multi-point and not just 1 or 2 points, like 3 or 4 points. I don't think we're going to continue to see that. And so I think the Jets are going to level tonight at home.
That's fair, but even if Rantanen is not producing, they have like 8 other guys in that that top 3 lines that could produce, and I think he deserves a bit of a break there too. So hopefully some other guys can step up there. They have the facilities there, so I think it's gonna be close, right? I will give the Jets credit. It was a closer game 1, but they have momentum on their side, right? After the way that series ended, you'd think they'd be able to take the fight to this Stars team, but I think this is gonna be the games are all gonna be close, but I just think the Stars are gonna take the narrow edges. So just that they're just built for this, yeah.
I'm excited for this one. I actually have really enjoyed I enjoyed that first game because, dude, I don't know. I guess I just really thought that Dallas was going to look like a significantly better team. And it was
pretty even. It was pretty even.
It was way more even than I thought.
Yeah.
So
I don't think it's going to stay that way, though.
You don't?
Yeah.
You think Dallas is going to start to? I think so. I think we'll maybe see that at home. I just think that
not yet.
I don't think Winnipeg's going to drop both at home. I guess that's my whole thing. Like they've been so good there all year. They've obviously didn't lose there in the first round. I just don't see them dropping 2 in a row at home. I think they get too much juice from that crowd. Is that crazy?
It's fair. That whiteout is probably, you could argue it's the best playoff atmosphere. So, but the fans are playing in the games. So I think, I give Dallas the edge. Yeah.
And Winnipeg is a slight favorite. They're minus 135, so the book's obviously favoring them, leaning towards them a little bit. And I it's not significant all the time. Like, look, a lot of times in the playoffs, the home team is going to be a narrow favorite. But I think in a series that Dallas was favored in quite heavily by the sports book, for Winnipeg to be a minus 135, I think that's a little bit of a nod that the Jets are going to look good tonight. What do I know? That's just, that's not financial advice to all you young sports gamblers out there. Sometimes the book does give you a nod one way or the other, and I think this is one of them.
So what are you saying there, Lee?
I'm putting $1,000 on Winnipeg tonight. No, I don't know. I might not even bet on them, but I think Winnipeg are going to win tonight. I'm going to say 4-2.
Okay, I'll say we get a vintage Hellbach performance, vintage playoff Hellbach performance, and 5 2-stars.
You're a rat.
I'm such a hater. I love the drama. I love the narratives. Like, just keep giving it to me. I love it.
You really are. You really are. You disgust me. All right. Let's move ahead to Saturday. Also, by the way, no stream tonight, no stream tomorrow night. We get these weekend evenings off. How fortunate. And Tassos is obviously still grinding away at the Greek ice hockey thing.
How's he doing?
Good. And the men's team won yesterday. The girls team won, and they're both playing again today. I might try to head over there to catch some of the men's game after the show. So that's why we're not streaming tonight and tomorrow. But yes, so Saturday, the early game at 5 o'clock Central, which will be 5:10 Central. I don't know why they can't just say the time that puck drop is. Like, why the fuck are you saying, 5 o'clock on everything? They say 5 o'clock on everything, and then it ends up being 10 to 15 minutes after the fact. It's like the sports book will say puck drop. Like, if you go on the sports book, like I use FanDuel. I go on FanDuel, it says Canes Cap Saturday night is going to be at 5:10. They don't say 5 o'clock. Why does everybody else say, why you're just...
For the TV. Yeah.
But it's like, why? The broadcast might start before the game. Don't say the game is at that time, because the game isn't at that time. Other sports don't do that. Like, if you watch fucking soccer, if it says kickoff is at fucking 2 o'clock Central, kickoff's going to be at 2 o'clock Central, not 2:15. It's like, what's the point? I don't understand it.
Maybe it just sounds better, like 7 o'clock versus 7:10. Like, maybe that's what they're thinking. I don't know. Who knows?
or just start the games at the time you say they're going to start.
I wish. Yeah, it drives me nuts when they do that. Yeah.
It's whatever. That's just a nitpick thing that drives me crazy for no reason. Okay, so Caps, Hurricanes. What do you got for this one? I mean, Canes big favorite, minus 190, heading back home. I think we both kind of like the Canes more in this series, but you like what you saw from the Caps last night, right?
I did, yeah. This is clearly the biggest absolute cinema series. I mean, every time these two powerhouses go up front, like it's can't miss hockey there, Capitals, Hurricanes. But yeah, I mean, going back to Carolina, yeah, I think it's going to edge back in their favor. I did like what I saw from Washington that game too, right? They made a fight, credit to them. They're a good team, right? They're going to make it a close 6-7 gamer, I think. But no, back home, Carolina's been a dangerous team at home, right? They've been close to unbeatable there, especially the playoffs. It's hard to beat them at home. So sometimes they have a harder time on the road. But no, I think it's going to come back in their favor here. I think they're going to win pretty convincingly. Yeah.
Really? What? Pretty convincingly meaning what?
I think it's going to look more like game one. They're going to, get majority of the chances, outpossess them, and just kind of control the game. So not sure if the scoreboard's going to show it like game one. I'm sure the game will be close, but, if you actually watch the game, it definitely won't look like it. Yeah. But I think for Washington, yeah, they can keep playing the way they did in game two and, try to get an even amount of chances and get more rush looks. And Ovi, they need to get something for Ovechkin.
Yeah.
They haven't got anything from him this series. I don't think he has a point yet. So they need something from him. I mean, Stromer, Wilson's not going to be enough. So yeah, need to get Ovi going if you're Washington. Yeah.
I think I agree with you. Not to do agreeable talk on CHR, but yeah, I think for the Caps to win, the route is pretty simple. It's like Logan Thompson's going to have to play absolutely phenomenal. He's probably going to face over 35 shots, and then the Caps are going to have to get their power play cooking, but that's going to be tough against this Canes PK. That's
just so good.
Tremendous. So I think I agree with you. I'm going Canes here too. I just think they looked so good in game one. They still had more possession, more shots.
Yeah, they still looked good yesterday. It wasn't like they looked bad. They still got the majority of the chances, like you said, but the Caps just did what they needed to do. Yeah, they got some of the finishing that they lacked in game one. There's one area they have an edge. It's that. I mean, Thompson, like you said, has been outstanding. So maybe he can steal in the series. It's possible steal in the game. Because Anderson, he's been good, but he is a guy who can kind of get out of his element a little bit. Whereas Thompson, just the season he's had, he's been so consistent. So, but outside of goaltending like that, they really don't have an advantage anywhere else. And again, when you're running through your power play, you have a PK that'll shut it down. You're just gonna have a hard time winning 4 games against this team.
That's kind of like my take on this whole series, and not just. I mean, Saturday is like ×2 of this. It just feels like for the Capitals to win, they need like more things to go right than the Canes do. Like the Canes can kind of just play their game. They don't need like every little bounce to go perfectly. They don't need like legendary performances out of guys. They can kind of just do what they do. They're gonna have more chances.
The games will come to them.
Yeah. And so, I think that's why I'm pretty confident in the Canes to win this series and win tonight. As far as score predictions go, I think it might be another low-scoring game. I'll say 3-1 Canes.
I will say it's another game 2-1, but this one doesn't go to OT.
2-1. Okay.
Yeah.
We'll
the
see.
under's the easy one in this series for sure.
Yeah, but also maybe that just means it's due. Maybe the over.
It's a trap.
Due. Yeah.
There's going to be a game here or there, I'm sure, but not yet.
Yeah. All right. I guess that it hasn't been a sleepy series because that game last night was awesome.
It was good. Yeah, game one was. I know with overtime, but that was a little bit of a sleepy game. No, that was a better game last night. So I hope the Caps be able to take it to them. Right. I think I did predict this being a 6-7 game. I'm not sure. I think you thought this could be a quicker series, if I remember correctly, right? I think you said it'd be like 5 or something. So no, like I want to see the Caps take it to them. I'd be happy to be wrong about this one, by the way. Actually, I wouldn't entirely be wrong because I did say before the series I changed my pick to the Canes, but my bracket does have the Capitals. So
bracket merchant Tassos would be fuming right now if he was here. He hates bracket talk.
What's wrong with brackets? What's his deal? No fun allowed.
All right, let's I guess move on then to the Golden Knights Oilers game 3 at Rogers Place Saturday night, 8:00 Central. I mean, Vegas is going to need, realistically, you want to win both on the road here, but I don't know if that's going to happen the way this Oilers team's been looking.
Yeah, we talk about must wins, and this is like the dictionary definition of a must win. Like you go down 3-0 against this Edmonton team, like not just like forget about winning 4 games. Like I think you're probably gonna get swept, honestly, if you lose this game, the series is over. So, and Vegas is like this is still a damn good team. Like, it could easily still pull off a comeback, but Edmonton's like one of those teams, man. They're just so good at home, man. Like they just look like a different team there. Even not really lately, but even before when they were struggling, they were still good at home. So 6 straight wins. It does feel like they're kind of due for a loss here. They're gonna make it 7. Really, they're just gonna go undefeated on the way to the cup now. I don't know. It kind of feels like that. Just the momentum's on their side there, but it does feel like they're due a little bit. And Vegas is too good a team. Like I just don't see them going out in 4 or 5 games. Like I do think Edmonton has the edge in this series right now. I would say they're probably gonna come away with it, but Vegas ain't going to make it easy. I think they could still stretch this to 6-7 games. So I think a desperation game, I will put the trust in them and I will say they come away with this one. Yeah.
I think the Oilers are going to win. I think the Oilers are going to win tonight. And then I do think Vegas is going to extend it, win game 4, come back home, maybe win game 5 at home. But I think this is a great spot for the Oilers because everybody, I guess this is more bettingly is going to come out here. I'm looking at this through a betting lens. I think Edmonton are going to be sharp, honestly, here because I think everybody's going to be hitting that Vegas plus 115 on the road in a desperation game. And then I think the Oilers are just going to have a ton of juice from being back at home. That place is an electric factory in the playoffs. And the way Connor and Leon looked after scoring that overtime goal, those guys were fired up. I think they're going to come home, take care of business here in game 3 and win it. Because, dude, I just feel like there's no one stopping that offense right now. They are just so good. They're getting production everywhere. I think it's apparently just too much for the Golden Knights right now. And I think that's going to continue in game 3. I'll say Oilers 5-3.
Well, I'll say Knights 5-3. I'll Uno reverse card that. But to your credit, like the Oilers are a team where it feels like once they find it, they don't lose it. Like they're definitely a streaky team. Like once they get hot, it's hard to kind of, it's hard to beat them. So, and it just feels like they're on a roll right now, right? I mean, and when you got a team and you got your players in the zone, it's gonna be hard to stop them. But I'm gonna put my trust in that Vegas team that they're too good a team to get swept or lose in 5 games. So I think that they're not gonna go down 3-0 in my opinion.
Yeah, it's not even so much that I'm like betting against Vegas. It's just
betting for Edmonton.
Yeah, Edmonton just feels inevitable right now.
Yeah.
And I do think Edmonton in this game 3 need to do a much better job of protecting Calvin Pickard. Like, I do not think they can allow these Vegas Golden Knights players to just like basically take runs at him. Like every single play, if the whistle's coming around the Edmonton net, you can bet your bottom dollar that there's a Vegas player making some sort of connection with Calvin Pickard. And I think the Oilers need to do a better job of taking care of that guy.
Yeah, and also it does feel like he's due too. Like Pickard's 6-0. Right now they have not lost a game with Calvin Pickard. He's like an 881 save percentage. Like, how the hell is this guy 6-0 with an 881 save percentage? Like, this Oilers team makes absolutely no sense whatsoever. So yeah, even I don't have any confidence in that prediction because like, why are we even still bothering predicting things with this Oilers team? It's like they're just so frustrating, man. Like when it comes to like predicting stuff, but they're so fun. Like I was joking around about that Capitals Kane series. I was like, oh yeah, 2 powerhouses. Like, no, this sleepy ass series, nobody really cares. These are 2 powerhouses that play. This is fun hockey right here. Like these Kings, not Kings, goddamn it. These Knights Oilers games have been absolute cinema, just like the Kings Oilers series were. And it just follows this Oilers teams around, man. They're just so fun to watch. So yeah, I'm kind of with you. Like they're not really a team I necessarily want to see win the cup, but I also want to see how far they can take it. Yeah.
I keep making the same mistake of the Knights Kings thing. It's like
it's a similar theme, to be fair, like Kings Knights. Like,
both on a chessboard. Both. Both are found at medieval times, and both are probably going to lose to the Edmonton Oilers. So
it honestly looks like that, man. Like Vegas could still pull it off, right? And I think this is a better team than the Kings, but somehow the Oilers look even better against them. But I think a lot of it's just momentum, right? They didn't really have to feel out this team like they did the Kings. Yeah, it just seems like they got figured out right now. Yeah.
We will see. A lot of good games over the weekend. And then I guess we could do Sunday too. And I do believe Tassos and I will be streaming the Panthers Leafs game on Sunday. We can't really tee those up though because we don't know what happens in the games prior.
Well, as we know, the Stars just handily defeated the Jets in game 2 there. Now they have opportunity to come back home to really get closer to the sweep there. And then the Panthers really got back in that one. They really tried to tie the series there in game 3 back at Sunrise. They do say it looks like that first win at home, the Leafs just completely collapsed. So I think they can be able to tie that series up in game 4 on Sunday. Yeah.
Well, guys. I mean, you don't even have to watch the games tonight because Justin Lynch just gave you the script.
I just told you what's going to happen. Yeah.
Thank you very much, sir. That's very kind of you to do. Now we have more time for ourselves this weekend. No, we're kidding. But stream Sunday night. No streams the next couple. We'll be back here Monday for a regular show. Did we do it? Did we get?
I think there's a couple more things to discuss here before we leave. Actually, not the prospect thing yet, but I think the NHL has been releasing their quarter century teams the last little bit, and Blackhawks legend, an actual Blackhawks legend, Patrick Kane. He was picked for the NHL quarter century team today of players born from 2000 to 2010. They revealed 7 players. And I'd like to know where Jonathan Toews was there exactly. I didn't see his name in there. So wonder what that's all about, but hopefully he'll still be in it. But yeah, good to see Kaner in the NHL quarter century team. Yeah.
Who
I'll pull them up.
Yeah.
I'll pull them up here for a second. Yeah. I think it was Sid the Kid, Malkin, Kane, Patrice Bergeron, Datsuk, Stamkos, and Malkin. Yeah, I mean, I can understand why Toews was, I guess, left off this initial one. Ovi, I don't know if I said Ovi. I mean, I've always argued, I think like he's close to Bergeron, but Bergeron have longevity, and yeah, I can't really argue this. If you're only going to reveal 7 players, like I can't really say, oh, how could you reveal one of these guys ahead of Taves? But I do think Taves hopefully still. And I think they're just revealing like the initial ones for all these, like because it did 1990 to 2000, or players who debuted before 2000. They did 2020, 10, then they did 2010. I assume it's going to be the next one. So
Kopitar not on this one either. So
yeah, like if Kopitar's not going to be there, then yeah, Taves. But well, I think this one's just they call it a quarter century team, but I think they're revealing the top 25 right now. So if it's 7 in each one, then he might not be in it. Who knows? I would hope so. There's no way Taves isn't among the top 25 players of the 21st century. What are we talking about here? He's got to be in there, surely. But yeah, and even guy like Keith, we'll see. Yeah.
And then anything else?
Yeah, what do you think we're missing here, Lee? What do you think is the last objective to hit here?
I have a feeling you're going to be talking about young players in the Chicago Blackhawk system.
You're goddamn right.
Damn.
Prospect talk, baby. Rockford Ice Hogs. Unfortunately, they did drop game 3 on Wednesday to the Milwaukee Admirals. I think they lost like 6-2 or something, but they still have the 2-1 edge in the series, and it comes back to Rockford here tonight. They have a chance to take the series in advance. So hopefully they'll be able to do that. I'd like to see it. And it's the first game they've lost in the playoffs, by the way. They have won all 4 of the previous ones. So hopefully they get back to victory lane here and eliminate the Admirals and move on and keep this Calder run going. That's what I want to see.
All the highlights from the series that I keep seeing, it's like these Admirals guys are kind of just like thugs. Like they are. It seems such a physical series. I think the Guy family are going to the game tonight. So
they really?
Yeah, I hope they enjoy it, and I hope they're able to secure a win for the Rockford Ice Hogs for all of us.
Yes, sir. Yeah. And I think that about covers it. We haven't done do we just not get Friday questions anymore? Like did we just stop doing them?
We just haven't been getting as many as we used to.
We haven't.
So we've just been kind of compiling them. I think we might do like either a video of us just doing all the questions, or we'll just do one big like all month of May type thing. I don't know yet. Well, we will figure it out.
We shall see. That was the voice of Raven Gasser. We appreciate him being here, working the 1s and 2s for us. Thank you guys all so much for listening, watching, however you consume this today. We appreciate you. If you have not yet, please subscribe to our YouTube channel, Chicago Hockey Radio. We are trying to aim for 1,000 subs by the end of this season, and it's a long road there, but we are gonna need your guys' help to get there. So any way you can, we appreciate it. Follow the Instagram too, Chicago Hockey Radio. Same thing for the TikTok and the X account. And then if you listen to us on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, give us a 5-star rating and review. All that stuff goes a long way for helping us to grow this thing so we can continue to give you the content you enjoy. I hope you enjoy it. We enjoy making it for you. So yes, thank you guys so much for listening. We will be back Sunday for a live stream and then Monday for a regularly scheduled morning show. We will see you then. Take care.
Adios.